Admiral Jake Morrison stood at the large window of Earth Defense Station, looking out at the stars. The coffee in his hand had gone cold an hour ago, but he did not notice. His mind was focused on the reports coming in from the outer edge of the solar system. Something big was happening. The first alarm had sounded at 0600 hours. Long-range sensors had picked up massive energy readings near Jupiter. At first, the technicians thought it was a solar storm or equipment failure. They were wrong. Lieutenant Amy Foster ran up to Jake, her face pale with fear. "Sir, you need to see this right now." Jake followed her to the main control room. The huge screen showed a view of space near Earth's moon. What he saw made his blood run cold. Hundreds of alien ships were appearing out of nowhere, their hulls gleaming silver in the sunlight. Each ship was the size of a small city. "How many?" Jake asked. 500 confirmed, sir. Maybe more still coming." Amy's voice shook as she spoke. The alien fleet moved with perfect order, forming a wall around Earth. No ship could leave the planet now without going through them. Jake had seen many battles in his 30 years of service, but nothing like this. Dr. Lisa Grant hurried into the control room, carrying a tablet full of data. She was Earth's top expert on alien life, though until today, that had been mostly theory. "Admiral, we're getting a transmission from the lead ship. It's directed at every government on Earth," she said. "Put it on the main screen." The display changed to show a creature that looked like a mix between a lizard and an insect. It had 4 arms, dark green skin, and eyes that glowed red. When it spoke, the words came out in perfect English. "People of Earth, I am High Commander Zeth Kara of the Zalarian Empire. Your world now belongs to us. You have 72 hours to surrender completely. All military forces must stand down. All governments must submit to our rule. If you refuse, we will destroy every city on your planet." The transmission ended. The control room fell silent except for the hum of computers. Jake felt his hands shake with anger. How did they learn our language so well? Lisa looked at her tablet again. The signal came through multiple channels. They've been monitoring our communications for a long time. They know everything about us. Captain Sam Rodriguez entered the room, his uniform still dusty from a training mission. "Sir, what are our orders?" Jake looked at the young captain. Sam was one of the best pilots in the Earth Navy, but what good were pilots against 500 alien warships? "Get me President. Carter on the secure line," Jake said, "and contact every ship in our fleet. I want a full count of what we have." The next hour passed in a blur of phone calls and reports. The news was bad. Earth's entire space navy had only 50 ships, and most of them were old patrol boats. The newest ships had weapons that might scratch the paint on an alien hull. President Ben Carter appeared on the secure video link. He looked tired and worried. Behind him, Jake could see other world leaders arguing in multiple languages. "Jake, tell me we have options," the president said. "Sir, we're outgunned by 10 to 1. Maybe more. Our weapons are decades behind theirs." "What about the Mars colonies, the asteroid mining stations?" Captain Sam spoke up. "Sir, I just got word from Mars Command. They have 12 ships ready for battle. The asteroid miners have some armed transports, but nothing that could hurt those alien vessels." President Carter rubbed his forehead. "The UN Security Council is meeting now. Half the world wants to fight, half wants to surrender. What do you recommend, Admiral?" Jake looked out at the alien fleet again. Each ship bristled with weapons. He could see energy building up in their main guns, pointed directly at Earth's major cities. "Sir, if we fight them with what we have, they'll destroy us in minutes. But if we surrender—" He paused. "I've read the reports about other worlds they've conquered. They don't treat surrender kindly." Dr. Lisa Grant stepped forward. "Mr. President, I've been studying their transmission. The Zalarians mentioned 17 other worlds they've taken. In every case, the native population was either enslaved or eliminated." The president's face went gray. "So fighting means quick death, and surrender means slow death." "That's about right, sir. Jake said. Suddenly, Lieutenant Amy Foster called, out from her station. Admiral, I'm picking up strange signals from the outer system. Very faint, but getting stronger. What kind of signals? I'm not sure, sir. They don't match anything in our database. Not human, but not like the alien ships, either. Jake walked over to Amy's station. Her screen showed waves of data that made no sense. Could it be more aliens? Maybe, sir, but the energy patterns are completely different. These signals are dark, like they're absorbing energy instead of giving it off. High Commander Zeth Kara's voice filled the control room again. People of Earth, do not think about calling for help. We have destroyed every ship that tried to leave your system. In 67 hours, you will surrender or die. The transmission showed a human transport ship being hit by an alien energy beam. The ship simply vanished, turned to dust in seconds. Captain, Sam's face went red with anger. That was the mining transport New Hope. They had families on board. Jake put a hand on Sam's shoulder. I know. We'll make them pay for that. But even as he said the words, Jake wondered how. Their biggest weapons were like throwing rocks at a tank. Dr. Lisa Grant was working furiously at her computer. Admiral, there's something strange about their ultimatum. They knew about our military bases, our ship counts, even our secret facilities. Someone has been giving them information. A spy? Maybe, or they've been watching us longer than we thought. Lieutenant Amy Foster looked up from her station again. Sir, those signals from deep space are getting much stronger. Whatever's out there, it's big. Really big. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. More aliens? Earth could not handle the 500 ships already here, let alone another fleet. How? Long until they reach Earth? At current speed, maybe 18 hours, sir. That was cutting it close to the alien deadline. Jake wondered if this was part of the Zalarian plan. Attack Earth, then bring in reinforcements to finish the job. President Carter's voice came through the speakers again. Admiral, the world leaders have made a decision. We're going to fight. Every ship, every weapon, everything we have. Sir, that's suicide. Maybe, but we won't go down without a fight. Ready our forces, Jake. We're going to show these aliens what humans are made of. The video link ended. Jake looked around the control room at his crew. These men and women had trained their whole lives for this moment, though none of them had expected it to be hopeless. You heard the president, Jake said. All ships to battle stations. Contact Mars Command and the asteroid stations. Tell them to prepare for war. As his crew rushed to follow orders, Jake looked out at the alien fleet again. The ships hung in, space like deadly ornaments, their weapons charged and ready. In less than 3 days, the battle for Earth would begin. But first, they had to find out what was coming from the darkness beyond the stars. Lieutenant Amy Foster's voice cut through. The noise of preparation. Admiral, I'm getting clearer readings on those deep space signals. Sir, I think they might be ships. Thousands of them. Jake felt his heart skip a beat. Thousands more aliens, or something else entirely? Either way, Earth was about to become the center of something much bigger than a simple invasion. The coffee cup slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor, but Jake did not notice. His eyes were fixed on the stars, wondering what other surprises the universe had in store for humanity. Outside the station, the alien fleet waited in perfect formation, counting down the hours until Earth's surrender or destruction. They had no idea that their prey was about to become the least of their problems. Director Alex Hayes had not slept in 24 hours. The Deep Space Monitoring Network's main facility buzzed with activity as technicians worked around the clock to understand the signals coming from beyond Pluto's orbit. Alex stood before a wall of screens showing data that defied explanation. The signals were unlike anything they had ever recorded. Where normal spacecraft gave off heat and electromagnetic radiation, these contacts seemed to absorb energy from their surroundings. Director, we've got visual contact, called technician Bob Palmer from his station. Alex hurried over to Bob's workstation. The screen showed a telescope image of deep space, mostly empty except for distant stars. Then Bob enhanced the image, and Alex saw them. Dark shapes moved against the star field, visible only because they blocked the light behind them. They looked like holes cut out of space itself. "How many?" Alex asked. "Still counting, sir. At least 3,000 confirmed. They're moving in perfect formation, heading straight for Earth." Alex felt his stomach drop. 3,000 ships would make the Zalarian fleet look like a small patrol. "How long until they reach us?" 16 hours at current speed. Alex grabbed the secure phone and dialed Admiral Morrison's direct line. The call connected after 2 rings. "Jake, it's Alex. You need to know what we're seeing out here." Meanwhile, on Mars, Commander Ryan Bell was dealing with his own crisis. The Red Planet's orbital shipyards were working at full speed to prepare their small fleet for battle. 12 ships was not much, but they were newer than most of Earth's vessels. Ryan stood in the command center of Olympus Station, watching his pilots run final checks on their fighters. Colonel Kate Murphy approached him, her face grim. "Ryan, we just lost contact with the asteroid belt mining stations. All of them." "When?" "About an hour ago. They were reporting normal operations, then nothing. Radio silence." Ryan felt a chill. The mining stations had been humanity's early warning system for the outer solar system. If they were gone, Earth was truly alone. "Could be equipment failure," he said, though he did not believe it. Kate shook her head. "I sent a probe to check on Station Alpha 7. It found debris. The whole facility was destroyed." "By the aliens?" "That's what I thought at first, but the wreckage is strange. It looks like it was cut apart with surgical precision, not blasted by energy weapons." Ryan studied the data Kate handed him. She was right. The destruction was too clean, too careful. It looked more like salvage work than an attack. Back on Earth, Dr. Paul Stevens was making a discovery that would change everything. The young scientist had been tasked with analyzing the alien ultimatum for any hidden information. What he found made him sick to his stomach. Paul burst into Admiral Morrison's office without knocking. "Sir, we have a traitor problem." Jake looked up from his battle plans. "What do you mean?" "The aliens' ultimatum contains information they should not have. Classified ship counts, secret base locations, even our experimental weapon projects. Someone has been feeding them intelligence for months, maybe years." Jake's face went red with anger. "Are you sure?" Paul spread out printed data sheets on Jake's desk. "Look at this. They know about Project Dark Lance, our experimental railgun program. Only 12 people on Earth have access to that information. They know about the hidden submarine base in the Arctic. They even know the exact specifications of our newest fighters. How is that possible?" "Someone in our government has been talking to them. The intelligence is too detailed and too recent to be from hacking or long-range observation." Jake picked up his secure phone again. This was information President Carter needed immediately. At the Deep Space Monitoring Network, Alex Hayes was getting more disturbing news. The Dark Fleet had changed course slightly, now heading for a point between Earth and the alien blockade. "Director, I'm picking up gravitational distortions around the dark ships," reported Dr. Janet Miller, the facility's physics expert. "Whatever they're using for propulsion, it's bending space-time around them." Alex studied the readings. "That should be impossible with our understanding of physics." "Sir, there's something else. I'm detecting quantum signatures that match theoretical models for dark matter manipulation." "Dark matter?" "That's science fiction." Janet shook her head. "Not anymore. Someone out there has figured out how to use it as a power source. The energy readings are off the charts." Alex felt a new kind of fear creeping up his spine. The Zalarian Empire had seemed unstoppable, but these new arrivals had technology that made the aliens look primitive. On Earth Defense Station, Lieutenant Amy Foster was monitoring communications when she heard something that made her blood freeze. The Zalarian fleet was broadcasting on encrypted channels, but Earth's computers had cracked their basic military codes. "Admiral, you need to hear this," Amy called out. Jake hurried to her station. Amy played back a recorded transmission in the alien language, then switched to the computer translation. Hi, Commander. The Void Hunters approach. Request immediate evacuation protocols. Negative. Hold position and prepare for engagement. The humans cannot have called them. Sir, with respect, the Dark Fleet has never shown mercy to any species. We should withdraw while we can. We have a contract to fulfill. The humans will surrender, and we will complete our mission. Jake felt confused. Void Hunters? Dark Fleet? They're talking about the approaching ships like they know them. Doctor. Lisa Grant entered the control room carrying a tablet full of new data. Admiral, I've been analyzing the alien language database. The terms they're using translate to ancient legends. Stories about ships that hunt in the darkness between stars. Legends. According to what I can piece together, these void hunters are supposed to be a myth. Ships that appear when civilizations grow too aggressive, bringing justice from the dark. The Zalarians are terrified of them. Jake looked at the tactical display showing both fleets converging on Earth. So we have 500 aliens who want to enslave us and 3,000 mystery ships that the aliens are afraid of. Does that make the newcomers our friends or our enemies? I don't know, sir. But there's something else. Some of the linguistic patterns in their quantum signatures. They're familiar. Familiar how? Lisa hesitated. Sir, I think some of those signals might be human in origin. Before Jake could respond, the main communication array crackled to life. A new voice filled the control room, speaking in clear English with no alien accent. Earth Defense Station, this is Commander Eve Turner of the Terran Void Navy. Do not be alarmed by our approach. We are human. The control room fell silent. Jake grabbed the microphone with shaking hands. Commander Turner, this is Admiral Morrison. Confirm your last transmission. Did you say you are human? Confirmed, Admiral. We are the children of Earth who left for the dark places between stars. We have been watching, and we have come home. Jake felt the world spinning around him. Human ships? From where? How? Commander, how many ships do you have? 3,742 vessels of various classes, Admiral. All crewed by humans and their descendants. Amy Foster's voice was barely a whisper. Sir, if they're human, why don't we know about them? Doctor, Lisa Grant was frantically typing on her tablet. Admiral, I'm checking historical records. There were rumors in the 2050s about secret space missions, classified programs that were never officially acknowledged. The communication channel crackled again. Admiral Morrison, request permission to establish a secure communication link. We have much to discuss and little time. The Zalarian Empire must not be allowed to proceed with their plans. Jake looked around his control room at the faces of his crew. Everything they thought they knew about humanity's place in the universe had just changed. Permission granted, Commander Turner, but I have questions. As do we, Admiral. As do we. Outside the station, the Dark Fleet continued its approach, thousands of ships that absorbed starlight and bent space around them. Whatever these humans had become during their time in the void, they were no longer the same species that had left Earth decades ago. The Zalarian fleet maintained its blockade, but their confident broadcasts had stopped. For the first time since their arrival, the alien invaders seemed uncertain. Earth hung between two forces it did not understand, waiting to learn whether salvation or a different kind of doom was approaching from the darkness beyond the stars. The first thing Admiral Jake Morrison noticed about the approaching fleet was how they seemed to drink the light from nearby stars. Through the powerful telescopes of Earth Defense Station, the dark ships looked like moving voids against the star field. Lieutenant Amy Foster had been tracking their approach for 6 hours now. Admiral, they're slowing down. Looks like they're taking position between us and the alien fleet. Jake studied the tactical display. The formation was perfect. Thousands of black ships arranged in a defensive wall. Each vessel was massive, some larger than the biggest Zalarian battleships. Any response to our communication attempts? Nothing since Commander Turner's first message, sir. They've gone completely silent. Dr. Lisa Grant rushed into the control room, her face pale with excitement and fear. Admiral, I've been researching those classified space missions from the 2050s. I found something. She activated the main display, showing declassified government documents. Operation Dark Exodus, a secret program to send colony ships into deep space, supposedly to establish mining operations in the void between stars. How many ships? The records are incomplete, but at least 50 colony vessels carrying over 1 million people. All volunteers, all sworn to secrecy. The program was shut down in 2061 and all records were classified. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. That was 60 years ago. Those colonists would have had children, grandchildren. Exactly. 3 generations living in deep space, developing new technology, adapting to life in the void. Captain Sam Rodriguez entered the control room, his uniform still bearing scorch marks from a training accident. Sir, the Zalarian fleet is broadcasting again. They sound scared. Jake nodded to Amy, who put the alien transmission on speakers. The computer translation made the fear in the alien voices clear. High Commander, the Dark Fleet has taken position. They are powering weapons. How many ships? Over 3,000 confirmed. Energy readings are beyond our sensors' capacity to measure. Have they responded to our hails? Negative, sir. They maintain complete communication silence, just like the legends describe. High Commander Zeth Kara's voice cut through the chatter. All ships maintain position. These humans cannot have summoned the Void Hunters. It is coincidence. Jake looked at Lisa. Void Hunters. They keep using that term. Lisa pulled up more data on her tablet. I've been cross-referencing alien databases we captured from previous encounters. The Void Hunters are mentioned in the mythology of 17 different species. They're described as justice bringers who hunt aggressive civilizations. And they're all afraid of them. Terrified. According to the legends, the Void Hunters appear whenever a species becomes too violent, too expansionist. They eliminate the threat and disappear back into deep space. Suddenly, the main communication array activated. Commander Eve Turner's voice filled the control room again, but this time, there was video. The woman who appeared on screen looked human, but changed. Her skin was pale, almost translucent, and her eyes had adapted to see in near total darkness. When she moved, it was with the fluid grace of someone who had spent decades in zero gravity. Admiral Morrison, I am Commander Eve Turner of the vessel Dark Vengeance. We request permission to dock with your station. Jake hesitated. These people claimed to be human, but they had become something else during their time in the void. Commander. Turner, before we proceed, I need to understand your intentions. Are you here to help Earth? Eve's expression remained neutral. We are here to protect our interests, Admiral. Earth is the origin of our species, but the void colonies are our home now. We cannot allow the Zalarians to discover our existence. So, you're not here to save us? Your survival serves our purposes. The Zalarian Empire has been expanding for centuries, consuming world after world. If they take Earth, they will eventually find our hidden colonies. Jake felt a mix of relief and disappointment. Help was help, even if the motives were selfish. Permission. Granted, Commander. Docking Bay 7 is ready for your shuttle. The shuttle that arrived 20 minutes later was unlike anything in Earth's fleet. Its hull seemed to absorb light, making it difficult to track visually. When it landed, the metal made no sound against the docking bay floor. Commander Eve Turner emerged wearing a form-fitting black uniform that seemed to shift and flow like liquid. Behind her came 2 other figures, a man and a woman who shared her pale, adapted features. Lieutenant Commander Dan Clark, the man introduced himself. Navigation Specialist. Dr. Nina Stevens, the woman said. Quantum physicist and dark matter engineer. Jake studied their faces. They looked human, but their eyes held depths that spoke of things no Earth-born person had ever seen. Commander Turner, I need to understand what you've become out there. Eve gestured for her companions to wait, then followed Jake to a private briefing room. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of decades in the void. Admiral, when our ancestors left Earth 60 years ago, they were running from a war they saw coming. They knew that first contact with alien species would eventually lead to conflict. So you abandoned us? They prepared for the worst. The void colonies were designed to be humanity's backup plan, a hidden civilization that could survive even if Earth fell. Eve activated a holographic display showing the space between star systems. Points of light marked hidden bases and colonies, scattered across dozens of light years. We have 17 major colonies and hundreds of smaller outposts. Our population now exceeds 10 million, all born and raised in the deep void. Jake stared at the display. 10 million people we never knew existed. The void changes you, Admiral. We've adapted to life in the darkness between stars. Our technology has evolved beyond what Earth possesses. The dark matter manipulation? Eve nodded. We learned to harness the fundamental forces that exist in deep space. Our ships can phase partially out of normal space-time, making them nearly indestructible. We can manipulate gravity, bend light, even affect quantum reality on a limited scale. Why reveal yourselves now? Because the Zalarian Empire has become too dangerous. They've conquered 43 worlds in the past century, enslaving or eliminating the native populations. Their expansion threatens everything. Jake felt a chill. 43 worlds? They told us 17? They lied. The Zalarians are one of the most aggressive species in the galaxy. We've been fighting a secret war against them for 20 years. Fighting them how? Eve's expression grew cold. We hunt their scout ships in the void between stars. We eliminate their advanced bases. We make them afraid to venture too far from their core worlds. You're assassins. We are survivors, Admiral. The void taught us that sometimes violence is the only language aggressors understand. Their conversation was interrupted by Lieutenant Amy Foster's voice over the intercom. Admiral, the alien fleet is powering up weapons. It looks like they're preparing to attack. Jake and Eve hurried back to the control room. The tactical display showed the Zalarian ships moving into attack formation, their energy weapons charging for a massive strike. They're targeting New York City, Amy reported. Full-power planetary bombardment. Eve spoke into a small device on her wrist. All ships, phase to combat readiness. Prepare to intercept. Jake watched the display as something impossible happened. The Dark Fleet simply vanished from sensors, disappearing as if they had never existed. Where did they go? They're still there, Eve said calmly. They've just shifted partially out of normal space. The Zalarian sensors cannot track them now. The alien energy beam lanced out toward Earth, a weapon powerful enough to vaporize a city. It never reached its target. The dark ships reappeared directly in the beam's path, their hulls absorbing the massive energy discharge and converting it into power for their own systems. High Commander Zeth Kara's voice screamed across the communication channels. Impossible! How did they move so fast? Eve smiled, and for the first time, Jake saw something human in her expression. Admiral, would you like to see what your lost children have learned in the dark? The battle for Earth was about to begin, but it would not be the desperate last stand Jake had expected. The Void had sent its hunters home, and they had brought technologies that turned the laws of physics into weapons. Outside the station, thousands of dark ships began to reveal themselves, each one a testament to humanity's ability to adapt and survive in the most hostile environment imaginable. The Zalarian Empire was about to learn why even their legends feared the Void Hunters. Commander Eve Turner stood beside Admiral Jake Morrison on the bridge of Earth Defense Station, watching the tactical display with calm eyes. The Zalarian fleet had stopped their attack, but their ships remained in battle formation. Your people saved New York, Jake said. How did they move so fast? Eve touched a control on her wrist device. Dr. Stevens, please explain phase shift technology to the Admiral. Dr. Nina Stevens materialized beside them as a hologram projected from Eve's device. Her pale features showed the same adapted qualities as the other void-born humans. Admiral Morrison, our ships exist partially in normal space and partially in what we call dark space. Think of it as swimming between different layers of reality. Jake tried to understand. So you can become invisible? More than invisible. We can move through matter, avoid energy weapons, even manipulate time flow on a limited scale. The Void taught us that space has many more dimensions than Earth science recognizes. Lieutenant Amy Foster called out from her station. Admiral, we're getting a communication request from the Zalarian High Commander. He wants to speak with our dark allies. Eve's expression hardened. Put him through. High Commander Zethkara appeared on the main screen, his reptilian features showing clear signs of fear. When he spoke, his voice trembled. Void Hunters, I am High Commander Zethkara of the Zalarian Empire. We did not know this world was under your protection. Eve stepped forward, her voice cold as deep space. This world gave birth to our species. We will not allow it to be harmed. We have treaties with over 50 species. Our expansion is legal. Under galactic law, your expansion ends here. The alien commander tried to regain his composure. The Galactic Council will not stand for this interference. You have no right to protect primitive worlds. Eve smiled, but there was no warmth in it. High Commander, your people tell stories about us around their fires. They warn their children about the ships that hunt in the dark. Have you forgotten why those stories exist? The Void Hunters are myths, legends to frighten the weak. Are we? Eve made a gesture, and the main screen split to show space around the Zalarian fleet. Dark ships were appearing everywhere, surrounding the alien vessels, like predators circling prey. Dr. Paul Stevens rushed into the control room, carrying a tablet full of new data. Admiral, I've been analyzing the intelligence leak. I found the source. Jake turned to him. Who? It's not a person, sir. It's a communication protocol. Someone has been piggybacking on our deep space transmissions, copying everything we send, and routing it to the Zalarian fleet. Eve looked interested. Show me. Paul displayed his findings on the main screen. The signal routing goes through 17 relay points before reaching the aliens. Very sophisticated, almost undetectable. Almost, Eve said. Dr. Stevens, please scan those relay points. Dr. Nina Stevens's hologram began working with data streams that flowed through the air around her. Admiral, these relay points are not in normal space. Someone has been using dark space communication networks. Jake felt confused. I thought you said only your people could access dark space. Eve's expression grew angry. We're not the only humans who left Earth, Admiral. Some of our early colonies disagreed with our methods. What do you mean? Lieutenant Commander Dan Clark materialized as another hologram. Sir, there was a split in the Void colonies about 30 years ago. A group calling themselves the Free Traders broke away from our defensive alliance. Free Traders? Humans who chose to work with alien species instead of hiding from them. They sell information, technology, even military intelligence to the highest bidder. Jake felt sick. You're saying humans have been helping the aliens plan this invasion? It appears so, Eve said. The Free Traders have no loyalty to Earth. They see profit in chaos. Captain Sam Rodriguez entered the control room, his face grim. Admiral, we're getting reports from the Mars colonies. Several ships are approaching. From the asteroid belt, they're broadcasting human identification codes. Eve activated her wrist device again. All ships prepare for Free Trader contact, weapons to stand by. They're your own people, Jake protested. They stopped being our people when they chose profit over protection. The approaching ships appeared on the tactical display. Unlike the dark vessels of the Void Navy, these ships were sleek and silver, designed for speed rather than stealth. A new voice filled the control room, speaking with an American accent, but carrying an arrogant tone. This is Captain Marcus Webb of the Free Trade Alliance. Earth Defense Station, stand down your weapons and prepare to surrender to Zalarian authority. Jake grabbed the microphone. Captain Webb, this is Admiral Morrison. You're human. How can you help aliens invade your own homeworld? Marcus Webb's face appeared on screen. He looked human, but his eyes held the cold calculation of someone who saw everything in terms of profit. Admiral, Earth represents the past. The galaxy represents the future. The Zalarian Empire offers stability and trade opportunities across hundreds of worlds. They also offer slavery and death. Only to those who resist progress. The smart choice is to accept the new reality. Eve stepped into view of the camera. Hello, Marcus. Still selling out your own species? Marcus's confident expression faltered when he saw her. Eve Turner, I should have known the Dark Fleet would interfere. You helped plan this invasion. You gave them intelligence about Earth's defenses. I provided market analysis. The Zalarians were going to expand this direction anyway. I simply ensured the transition would be smooth. Smooth, Eve repeated. Is that what you call genocide? Dr. Lisa Grant had been studying the free trader ships on her scanners. Admiral, their vessels are armed with hybrid technology. Human design, but alien weapons. Eve nodded. The free traders have been sharing technology with multiple species for decades. They have no loyalty except to profit. High Commander Zeth Kara's voice cut through the conversation. Enough discussion. Captain Webb, deploy your vessels as agreed. We will proceed with the invasion. Marcus Webb's ships moved to support the alien fleet, their weapons training on Earth Defense Station. Admiral Morrison, Marcus announced, I'm authorizing the Zalarian Empire to begin planetary bombardment. Earth's resistance ends now. Jake felt rage building in his chest. Bad enough to face alien invaders, but to be betrayed by fellow humans was almost too much to bear. Eve placed a hand on his shoulder. Admiral, some humans chose to adapt to the void. Others chose to adapt to greed. Both paths change you, but only one preserves what makes us human. What do you want to do? We want to show the galaxy why Earth produces the most dangerous species they've ever encountered. Eve spoke into her wrist device. All ships, execute Directive 7. No mercy for traitors. Jake watched the tactical display as the Dark Fleet began to move. The void ships flowed through space like liquid shadow, their movements too fast and fluid for normal physics. The free trader vessels opened fire first, their hybrid weapons lancing out toward the dark ships. The energy beams passed harmlessly, through hulls that existed partially outside normal space. Then the Void Navy returned fire. The weapons they used defied description. Beams of compressed darkness that seemed to erase whatever they touched, gravity waves that crushed ships like paper, quantum disruptions that made vessels simply cease to exist. In less than 5 minutes, the free trader fleet was gone. Not destroyed, not defeated, but removed from reality as if they had never been. Marcus Webb's final transmission was a scream of terror as his ship phased out of existence. High Commander Zeth Kara's voice shook with fear. What are you? Eve's response was calm and final. We are what humanity becomes when you push us into the dark places between stars. We are what you created when you forced us to choose between adaptation and extinction. The Zalarian fleet began to retreat, but the dark ships were already surrounding them. The void had come home, and it had brought justice with it. Admiral Jake Morrison realized that Earth's salvation had come not from their technology or their weapons, but from their greatest strength, the ability to survive and adapt no matter how hostile the environment became. The children of the void had returned, and they were nothing like the humans who had left Earth 60 years ago. The Zalarian fleet tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. Admiral Jake Morrison watched from Earth Defense Station as the dark ships appeared everywhere at once, surrounding the alien vessels in a perfect sphere of death. High Commander Zeth Kara's final transmission was desperate. All ships, emergency jump to hyperspace, authorization code Alpha 77. The alien ships began to glow with the energy needed for faster-than-light travel, but nothing happened. They remained trapped in normal space. Commander Eve Turner spoke calmly into her wrist device. Dr. Stevens, explain the jump inhibition field to our Earth colleagues. Dr. Nina Stevens's hologram appeared beside them. We're generating a localized disruption in space-time that prevents hyperspace entry. Think of it as locking all the doors in a building. How is that possible? Dr. Lisa Grant asked. Dark matter interaction allows us to manipulate the fundamental structure of reality in limited areas. The aliens cannot leave until we permit it. Jake studied the tactical display. The Zalarian ships were completely surrounded, their weapons trained on them by the Dark Fleet. But the Void ships had not fired yet. Commander Turner, what are you waiting for? Eve's pale eyes reflected depths that spoke of decades in the void between stars. Admiral, this is not about revenge. This is about sending a message. She activated the main communication channel, broadcasting to both the alien fleet and Earth. High Commander Zeth Kara, you have violated the sovereignty of a protected world. Your empire has expanded through violence and conquest for too long. The Galactic Council recognizes our right to expand. You have no authority here. The Galactic Council fears to venture into the void where we live. Their authority means nothing. In the darkness, between stars. Captain Sam Rodriguez was monitoring Earth's communication networks. Admiral, we're getting reports from around the globe. People are watching this on every news channel. Jake realized that billions of humans were witnessing this moment. Their first contact with alien life was happening in real time, broadcast to every corner of the planet. High Commander, Eve continued, the Zalarian Empire will withdraw from this system immediately. You will also withdraw from the 17 systems you conquered in the past 5 years. Impossible. Those worlds are legally ours under galactic law. Galactic law does not apply to us. We exist outside your civilization's rules. Lieutenant Amy Foster looked up from her station. Admiral, I'm detecting massive energy buildups in the dark ships. Whatever they're planning, it's big. Dr. Paul Stevens was analyzing the energy readings. Sir, those power levels should be impossible. They're drawing energy directly from dark matter. Eve made a gesture, and the main screen changed to show a view of space around Earth. The Dark Fleet had arranged itself in a complex pattern, thousands of ships forming geometric shapes that hurt to look at directly. High Commander, observe. The void ships began to pulse with dark energy. Space itself seemed to bend around them, creating visual distortions that made normal physics meaningless. Then they fired. The weapons they used were unlike anything Jake had ever imagined. Beams of compressed darkness that erased whatever they touched. Gravity waves that warped space-time itself. Quantum disruptions that made matter simply cease to exist. But they did not target the Zalarian ships. Instead, they aimed at empty space around the alien fleet. Jake watched in amazement as the void weapons carved geometric patterns in space itself, creating a three-dimensional sculpture made of bent light and twisted gravity. The display was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. What are they doing? Dr. Lisa Grant whispered. They're showing off, Eve said simply, demonstrating that we could erase the entire alien fleet from existence if we chose to. High Commander Zeth Kara's voice had lost all its earlier confidence. Void Hunters, we acknowledge your superiority. What are your terms? Complete withdrawal from this system within 1 hour. Withdrawal from all conquered worlds within 1 standard year. Any Zalarian ship found within 50 light-years of Earth will be destroyed without warning. The Galactic Council will never accept these terms. The Galactic Council is welcome to send their fleets into the void to negotiate with us directly. There was a long pause. Jake could imagine the alien commander weighing his options and finding them all bad. We accept your terms. The Zalarian fleet will withdraw immediately. Excellent. Dr. Stevens, please remove the jump inhibition field. The space around the alien fleet shimmered as the dark matter disruption ended. The Zalarian ships began to glow again as they prepared for hyperspace. "High Commander," Eve added, "carry this message to your Empire and to the Galactic Council. Earth is under the protection of the Void Hunters. Any species that threatens this world will face the same choice you face today." "Understood. The message will be delivered." One by one, the alien ships vanished into hyperspace, fleeing back to whatever corner of the galaxy they called home. In less than an hour, Earth's skies were clear of invaders. Jake felt a mix of relief and uncertainty. "Commander Turner, what happens now?" Eve turned to face him, her adapted features showing something that might have been sadness. "Now, Admiral, Earth must decide what kind of species it wants to become. You've seen that the galaxy is full of predators. You've also seen that humanity has already begun to evolve beyond what you know. Will your people return to Earth? Some might. But most of us belong to the void now. We've become something new, something that can survive in the darkness between stars." Dr. Nina Stevens' hologram spoke up. "Admiral, we'll leave some communication equipment and basic technical data. If Earth chooses to develop void technology, we can provide guidance. And if we choose not to?" Eve's expression grew cold. "Then you'll remain vulnerable to the next species that decides Earth looks like easy prey. The galaxy is not a safe place, Admiral. The strong survive, and the weak become footnotes in history." Lieutenant Commander Dan Clark materialized beside them. "Sir, our scout ships have detected 17 other alien fleets within 100 light-years of Earth. The Zalarians were just the first." Jake felt his blood chill. 17 more invasions? Possibly. Word will spread about Earth's wealth and technology. Other species will want what you have. But they'll also hear about the Void Hunters, Eve added. That might discourage some of them. Captain Sam Rodriguez looked at the tactical display showing the Dark Fleet. "How many of you are there, really?" "Over 3,000 ships in this fleet alone," Eve replied. "We have 17 major battle groups scattered across the galaxy, hunting aggressive species and protecting the innocent. Your space police? We're survivors who decided that survival requires vigilance. The universe respects only strength. Admiral, everything else is just wishful thinking." President Ben Carter's voice came through the secure communication channel. "Admiral Morrison, the world leaders want to meet with Commander Turner." Eve shook her head. "That won't be necessary. Mr. President, we've delivered our message and completed our mission." "Wait," Jake said. "You're leaving already?" "Earth no longer needs our immediate protection, but we'll be watching from the void, as we always have." Eve activated her wrist device. "All ships, prepare for void jump. Mission complete." Jake looked out at the Dark Fleet one last time. Thousands of ships that represented humanity's future, or at least one possible future. "Commander Turner, thank you for saving us. Thank Earth for giving birth to a species stubborn enough to survive in the void, Admiral. The galaxy tried to destroy us by forcing us into the darkness. Instead, we became the darkness." The dark ships began to fade from view, shifting back into the space between dimensions, where they made their home. "Admiral," Eve's voice came through the communication system one last time. "Remember what you learned today. The universe is vast and full of dangers, but it's also full of possibilities for those brave enough to reach for them. Will we see you again? When you need us most, we'll be there. The void has many children now, but Earth will always be our mother." The last of the dark ships vanished, leaving Earth's orbital space empty except for the scattered debris of the battle. The immediate threat was over, but Jake knew that everything had changed. Humanity had learned they were not alone in the universe. They had also learned that their own species had already spread to the stars, evolving into something new and dangerous in the process. Dr. Lisa Grant was already studying the technical data the Void Fleet had left behind. Admiral, this technology could change everything. We could build ships like theirs, explore the galaxy. Or we could become like them, Jake said quietly. Cold, distant, more machine than human. Is that necessarily bad? Captain Sam asked. They saved us. Jake looked out at the stars, wondering what other human colonies might be hidden in the darkness. What other versions of humanity had adapted to impossible environments? The Zalarian invasion was over, but Earth's real journey was just beginning. They had to decide whether to reach for the stars or stay safely on their home world. Either choice would change them forever. In the distance, space itself seemed to shimmer, as if the void were watching and waiting to see what Earth would choose. The children of humanity had shown what they could become when pushed to the edge of extinction. Now it was time for the parent world to decide its own future among the stars.